Yeah, from 99. He's in the industrial area. Looks like he's on a pavement. Stand by.
Hello people and sheeple, PINACI News. In this video you're going to hear some audio from a phone-in with a radio station from an ex-Metropolitan Police officer who is basically complaining that the reason he's not going to rejoin the police force is because he would have to wear a body-worn video camera which helps prevent him from gross misconduct. He's also complaining that members of the public all have video cameras and pull them out whenever they see someone being abused by the police. So I, for one, are bloody glad he's not going to rejoin the police force, because it's people like him that they need to root out of the police force. So listen to the audio, make up your own mind, and at the end of the video I'll play the perfect example as to why you should always record the police, and why the police should also always record the police.
Let's talk to Mark in Chelmsford. Hello, Mark.
Hi, Sheila.
You are a former police officer yourself.
That's right, yeah. I served in the Met for about 12 years. I left about 6 years ago.
And did you leave because of the state of policing or for other reasons?
Yeah, the state of policing and how I was treated. I was actually thinking about rejoining recently, and obviously once I heard in regards to recent news articles about the police officers who've been arrested, it actually put me off about rejoining.
Which element particularly?
Just the way the whole police services has gone. I still speak to some colleagues that are in the police, and they're scared of even stopping vehicles, people, talking to people, interacting with people, because the scare fact is they're scared of being recorded by somebody, or their own body cams capturing something they might have done which somebody else might find inappropriate. Like one of my colleagues, he spoke to me, he said he pushed somebody to defend himself. The body cam was viewed and they found it that his behaviour wasn't appropriate. You know, so I believe that the police service now are so scared to deal with people and to help people because they're so worried about their own, how can I put it, their own reputation.
What, because of being filmed all the time, you mean?
Yeah, there's cameras everywhere. Before, when I started, there was no such thing as cameras.
Well, that's true for criminals and members of the public as well, isn't it?
Exactly. So
well, I mean, while they're going about their business or while they're being policed, that's true of all of us.
Exactly. So that's the reason I think a lot of police officers don't want to get involved. You know, if they see something happening, they'll turn a blind eye, because the fact is they don't want to put themselves in a situation where they don't have to be.
Are you talking about whether policing is constantly filmed while it's happening?
No, just normal policing. Like, if a police officer stops somebody, I don't know, he might have drugs on him, he believes he might have drugs on him, people will start recording it. And obviously, even though that police officer's got he's got a good intention of stopping that person because he believes he might have drugs on him, it then turns sour. You know what I mean? People then complain. The police officer gets suspended. They'll look into it. So he thinks to himself, why rather than stopping that guy, I might as well just ignore him.
Yeah, well, that's not their job, is it, to ignore them?
But that's the problem now. They're so scared. Now, I know people, obviously, speaking to colleagues, they're so scared. They need to pick their own jobs. They've got families, they've got mortgages, they've got expenses. So to protect themselves, they're no longer doing what the old school police officers did, which was going out, looking for crime, stopping cars, stopping people. You know, if they stopped people, it could deter people.
But there are ways of stopping people, aren't there? We've seen, I mean, it happens every day, and it happens every day without incident. But we've seen examples where it's clearly been done badly. Yeah, I agree. Even in the past, police officers might have stopped somebody, and the way it turned out was incorrect. But I'm not from a white background, but I can put my hand on my heart and say that every single time I was with a colleague of a white background or whatever background, we never ever stopped anyone because of the colour of their skin. I can put my hand and say a majority of people that I stopped were not from a white background. It didn't mean that I was a racist. It doesn't mean my colleagues are racist. Unfortunately, it was just the area we was in, the crime that was taking place. Unfortunately,
those, unfortunately, the people of non-white backgrounds match the criteria.
And you're determined you won't go back?
Yeah, like I said, I was thinking about going back. I applied for it. I started to put all the paperwork back in again. And then I just got put off again because of what's happening. It's not going to be the same as when I first joined, going out, stopping cars, stopping people. Like we used to say, emptying pockets. That's what we used to say. That can't happen no more. Those days are finished. And that's the only way you can deter people. When I first started, we'll go out in the buses. We'll go into estates. We'll stop people. We search them on Section 60, and the results that we got from it was amazing. Now you can't do that. You can't get out of the bus. You can't stop people because of, like I said, people are recording you. You've got your own body cameras. That's your worst enemy. So you're recording. You know what I mean? You're recording yourself. You're putting yourself in danger.
Why is a body cam putting you in danger?
Because you might say something inappropriate. You know, so you stop somebody, they might say something to you. As humans, we say something back. That's just normal human nature. Just because you're in a police officer in uniform, you know, you're still a human. So you might say something back to them, which they might find offensive. They might go and then put a complaint and say, well, hang on a minute, this police officer said to me, he said something to me, which I don't like. They'll then listen to your body cam, and they'll hear you say something which he might not like. And then obviously then you're putting...
It's not about not liking it, it's whether it's to the standard of policing, and if it isn't, you need to be reminded what the standard of policing is, don't you?
But we're humans when you stop somebody, for example, I don't know, who might be you're chasing a drug dealer, you stop him, you start searching him, he might say something to you, you might then swear at him, for example. As human beings, your adrenaline's going because you've just chased after him, you've grabbed him, you've had a little scuff with him, you're on the floor with him, he might turn around and say something to you, you might then turn around and say, you might say something back to him.
Yeah.
But then they don't look at the result, they don't look at the fact that, well, hang a minute, you've stopped a drug dealer, you've recovered drugs which you've prevented to be on sale on the streets. They won't look at that. They'll look at the fact, little Jimmy here has made a complaint about you because he didn't like the way you spoke to him or like the way you grabbed him. But unfortunately, if little Jimmy wasn't running around with drugs in his pocket, that wouldn't happen.
Yes, but there still has to be a standard of policing, doesn't there? I mean, I understand how stressful that must be. I think I do anyway. But there still has to be a standard of policing where you don't meet the criminal with the behaviour of the criminal. You meet them with the behaviour of a police officer.
But unless you're in that situation, that's a problem. People don't see that. Unless you're in that situation, dealing with those people day in, day out, that you understand how to deal with them. You can't go approach Jimmy, who's a drug dealer, he's running off from you, and try to be friendly with him. That ain't going to work. You're going to have to chase him down. You're going to have to grab him. You're going to have to, unfortunately, he might turn up on the floor. You might put him on the floor. You might have to restrain him. That's how it's going to end up.
All right. Thanks very much, Mark, for your observations. Let's talk to Joe.
What for? It's Mark, are you harassing me? What for? I haven't done nothing wrong. Tell these, mate. What, go on. Give
No, you've done nothing wrong.
You want me to give you the definition of harassment? Give your details. You want me to give you the definition? Give me the keys. Sit in your car, shut up. And if you want to fucking step to me and put in your chest out, something like that, then fine. I'll lock you up. We'll do that, shall we? I'll make something up. Public order. Screw up to a police officer. Shall I do that? Who are they going to believe, me or you? Who are they going to believe, me or you? You can film all you want.
I will do, mate. Don't worry about it.
Show some respect to that.
And he's gone right at the end there.
You got it towards Sainsbury's.
Put that camera down, or we will tase you.
No.